Hi guys, little video for you now. I want to talk about my 5 favourite footballers of all time. Okay, so when I say of all time, I mean in my lifetime, because I don't really count the players that played before my sort of football fan days. I know they were great, Pele, Bobby Moore, all these great players, but I never really saw them. So I'm talking about in my lifetime. You might even be younger than me, you might have not seen some of these players play, and you might have a different top 5, which I'd love to hear, so leave a comment below. But I'm going to go through my 5 favourite footballers of all time now. So in 5th place is the very charismatic Edgar Davids. You probably remember him, Dutch centre mid. He's now player manager or just manager, I think, for Barnet in lower league in England. He did spend a little bit of time playing in the top flight in England, played for Tottenham for a bit, but mostly known for his games for Holland and Ajax as well in the Dutch Eredivisie. What a player, centre mid, tough tackling, and of course the fact that he had those glasses on, which is a medical condition, not just a fashion accessory. He had glaucoma in his eyes, he needed them to help him play, but it made him stand out from the crowd. His hair as well always made him stand out, but his performances were the most important thing. I used to love playing with him on games, but also watching him. He could hit some screamers, tough tackling, big fan of Edgar Davids, and my 5th favourite player ever. My 4th favourite player of all time is Alessandro Del Piero. Now, I can remember playing football with my mates when I was little, and he was the player I'd always pretend to be, and that shows you how long and how good he was for such a long period of time, because, I'm 25 now, so this is like 15 years ago, and I'm 10 years old, I'm saying his name, and he kept doing it for almost that whole 15 years, Also love the fact that he stayed with Juventus for so long, to be that loyal to your club is quite rare nowadays. Steven Gerrard, there's a few people that have done it. Gianluigi Buffon at Juventus as well has been there for a long time, but other than that, there's not many players that stay true to their club for such a long period of time, so I think Del Piero deserves some plaudits for that. Last I heard, he was playing in Australia, but in his prime, one of those technical players that could do anything with the ball. Great player, loved watching him. Del Piero, you're my 4th favourite player of all time. Now, my 3rd favourite player of all time, he's actually still playing, but my main memories of him come again from when I was a lot younger. He's actually Michael Carrick. So, you probably know I'm a West Ham fan, and I can just remember playing football with my brother in the garden, I had the West Ham 3rd strip on. I think it was our first ever 3rd strip. It was white because we got into the Intertoto Cup, which was a rare dabble in Europe for the Hammers. And I used to love my brother laying the ball off to me and me hitting a low grass-cutting shot and shouting Michael Carrick at the top of my voice. That was a great time for me, and of course he was part of that golden generation at West Ham. There's a load of players I could have picked, Jermaine Defoe, Rio Ferdinand, Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, but Michael Carrick, for whatever reason, was the one that stuck in my mind. And last year he got a lot of plaudits for what he did. One of the unsung heroes in the Manchester United team and the England team. Now he's getting back in there as well. So Michael Carrick, thank you. You are my 3rd favourite footballer of all time. Now, my 2nd favourite footballer of all time might be a shock to some of you. Some of you might not have even heard of him. He's called Steve McManaman. Now, if you're my age or older, you'll know who he is. Former Liverpool and Real Madrid winger, and of course England as well. What a player. I used to love watching this guy. A little bit like Michael Carrick, he never really got the plaudits he deserved, in my opinion. Wasn't the first name in a team sheet or a fantasy football league, but he did a great job. And there's a reason Real Madrid bought him. Long before Beckham and Owen went over there, they had Steve McManaman. And I think I'm right in saying he's the only Englishman in the Real Madrid Hall of Fame. If he's not anymore, he definitely was the first one. And also, he scored in a Champions League final. Not a lot of English people can say that. My main memories of him for England being in the 98 World Cup, fitting into that 3-5-2 system we used to play on the wide right. Love watching him. Great dribbler, great with the ball. Frizzy hair as well. He had the whole package, in my opinion. Steve McManaman, my 2nd favourite footballer ever. And my favourite, my number 1 footballer to watch, to pretend to be, to just admire, is West Ham legend Paolo Di Canio. Paolo Di Canio. Paolo, you know the song. Unfortunately, he's not had as good a time of it as a manager, just being sacked from Sunderland. But what a bloody player. I'm sure you remember the goal he scored, 1999. I think he got goal of the season for West Ham against Wimbledon. Trevor Sinclair plays a long cross ball from the other side of the pitch. It comes over to Di Canio, and on the volley, he does a little scissor kick. Bang, left foot up, but then strikes it with the right, straight in the opposite corner. What a goal. And that's the sort of thing he did regularly, okay? Another lesser known goal, but equally amazing. Against Chelsea, I'm pretty sure he won the game 3-2. I think maybe in 2000, 2001. He comes in from the right, flicks it up on his left, volleys it on his right, straight in the top corner. Unbelievable. Paolo Di Canio was one of those magic players that could just pull something out of nowhere, and there's so many little stories about him as well. I think we were playing Everton, Harry Redknapp was managing, and he had a chance to score, but he'd seen that the goalkeeper had got injured, and rather than put the ball in an empty net, he picked the ball up and gave it to them. And, as a sportsman and as a sort of story, a bit of football folklore, what a great incident. But Harry Redknapp was fuming with him. He wanted the points. There's loads of stories about him. His sort of strict professional attitude has worked against him in management because people are saying he's too uptight. But I know apparently in Harry Redknapp's book he talks about if people weren't taking training too seriously and they were sort of joking, he'd just leave. He'd say, I can't do it, I need to be focused, I need to be serious. And he had that attitude, and it came forward in his football because some of the stuff he did was unbelievable. And of course, if you're talking about drama, there's the famous incident when he pushed the ref over and actually got a ban for the rest of the season when he was playing for Sheffield Wednesday. And that's part of the reason though that he came to us. I think that was the catalyst, made Sheffield Wednesday wanting to sell him, West Ham bought him, and it was much to our benefit because he is my favourite, not just West Ham, but footballer of all time. I thought I'd end the video now with not one of my favourite footballers of all time yet, but my current favourite footballer who's playing has to be Revell Morrison. Now, if he lives up to the potential he's showing at West Ham and England under-21s, I think we've got the next Joe Cole, a real player on our hands at West Ham. I hope we don't end up sending him back to United or selling him to anyone else. Hope he stays. I hope he keeps his head straight because a lot of people are saying he's got a bit of a dark side. But from what I've seen, he looks incredible. So Revell Morrison, if you keep doing what you're doing, you could break your way into my top 5. Watch out, Edgar Davids, he's coming for you. Let me know your top 5 players. Leave a comment below. I want to hear the stories and the reasons you love these individual footballers so much, maybe because they play for your team or they've done something amazing on TV or whatever it is. Let me know what you think of my top 5, who your top 5 are, and if you like the sort of videos I'm making about football and everything else, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, see you next time.